Hey guys, we are Jeff and Anne from What Doesn't Suck, and we get asked so many questions about traveling.
We've been going around the world for the last few years whenever we can, and we get asked these questions the most, so we thought we'd answer them as honestly as possible.
I don't know about you, but for me, I always make sure to pack underwear first because...
Where did you forget underwear?
So when we did our trek on Everest, I packed everything in my 10-kilo bag, except
No underwear.
I forgot underwear. So that was a little awkward. Luckily, we didn't really change for 10 days because it was so cold. You can't remove any layer of clothing, so...
We didn't shower for a week and a half anyway, so who cares, whatever. I just kept turning my underwear inside out, so... The one thing that I also always bring everywhere is a reusable metal water bottle. This thing is dented and goes with us absolutely everywhere. And I also think noise canceling headphones are a game changer. When you're on like a long bus or an overnight flight or something, whatever they are, awesome. Always in our bag. That's a good question.
It's a good question. So
first of all, we don't make that much money at all. We work really, really hard, and we don't make that much money. But I think the most important thing that we always try to do is to be authentic, be original, and create content that is valuable to people. And our best advice would be to do that, to find something that is important and still needs to be, done, that's not out there. And as long as you're being original, I think brands will come to you with opportunities to maybe work together, and you'll start making money that way.
Yeah, I think we started, just doing this weekend guides from Dubai just because we thought that would be valuable for people, and ended up being valuable, hopefully. And we ended up doing some places, that were not necessarily very popular for some reasons. And so people ended up liking them, watching them, and people reached out to us. But we don't reach out to brands. We don't try to make money out of it. We just have fun, and hopefully that can generate a little bit of income that funds our travel.
And that's the most important thing, is having fun. Don't set out to make money. Create something that is valuable, that you absolutely love doing. It takes sometimes 50, 60 hours to edit one of our videos. So if you don't love doing it, stop right now.
So we don't travel for a living.
No.
At all.
We left Dubai, quit our jobs, sold or donated everything we had, and we went on a 6-month trip around the world. I know it looks like we're always traveling, and we traveled a lot when we were in Dubai on the weekends, shooting 48-hour guides, but we have, for the last 5 years, both worked pretty much full-time and traveled when we could. We just saved up for a 6-month trip around the world and created as many video guides as we could for you during that time. It's a good question. It's one, I think people ask the same question about Saudi Arabia that just opened up for tourism, and these are countries that are notoriously under really oppressive regimes, and the question is, are you supporting the regime, or are you getting to actually know the people and know the country? I hope that people are still visiting the United States, even though we have an orange dumpster fire for a president. So I don't really want to say either way. That being said, we have no plans to go to North Korea, haven't been invited, and it's not really on our bucket list.
I think for me what would make the difference maybe, and again I'm not 100% sure I would go to these countries, but it would be only if we decide to go on our own. I wouldn't necessarily accept if we're being invited and paid, because then obviously your view is skewed. Like I've seen a blogger going to Saudi Arabia, and I just can't really believe in what he says, like I feel like he's being paid to say these things, and that just, for me, that's not the way we do it, that's not why we do it, and that's not how we do it.
We've got a few more places on our bucket list before North Korea.
We have a lot.
Yeah, this is a really big one, because as an American, I'm always worried about paying health insurance, and sometimes when I travel, I just don't get any at all, which is so stupid. But we found a company called Safety Wing right before we left on the trip around the world, and it's like a subscription model, just like Spotify or Netflix. It's so easy. We just signed up, and it was really cheap, and we had it for the entire time and really loved it.
Yeah, so it's a program that's made for digital nomads, I think, and I was looking a ton for different health insurances because I refused to go without. And it was kind of difficult because different formulas didn't work because you had to be at one place or anything. So we found this Safety Wing was actually really fitting our travel plans, so that was perfect. And it's actually pretty cheap. I think it starts at like $37 per month. And you can just do it as you go and stop when you stop traveling. It's really convenient. Luckily we didn't have to use it, but I think it's really good to have. It's always safe to travel with insurance. Do it, guys.
Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive if you're in the US, but it allows it to use it in your own home country for 30 days out of every 90, and I think the US for 15 days out of 90 if you're a US citizen. And that was by far the best option we found when we were traveling.
That is quite tricky, you know, because it really depends on how you travel and what is good for you, you know. Like for us, you know, we love like nature and we love road trips and, you know, wild places, so we can say some, for example, like, I don't know, Iceland, but like that wouldn't apply to everyone. If you love the beach, if you love to chill, if you have a different traveling style that we do, then maybe something else would apply for you.
I think the goal with our videos is to inspire people to get off the couch and go travel and see the world, and hopefully we've shown a couple places that you want to add to your bucket list. So I think the number one place that we would tell you that you have to go is whatever is number one on your bucket list. Do it now. Do it.
You know, that's a good question, because we don't really think in general about the places we're going to until we are there. How it works basically is we know we have a couple of days, you know, or a long weekend, and we just search for everywhere, and we just see the list of countries and we're like, okay, I don't know this country, let's just go there. But is there any place that we don't want to go at all?
I don't think so, because, you know, yeah, I don't think like that. We never would have ended up in Tajikistan, Albania, or Sudan if we had just made a list of countries that we'd heard amazing things about, because we'd heard nothing about any of these countries, which is why we went to explore them. But again, this is subjective. I'm not going to tell you to not go to a country, because we could have wildly different experiences, and that's for you to explore, that's for you to discover.
Yeah, Tajikistan is actually a good example, because when Jeff said, let's go to Dushanbe, I was like, not sure. And you know, we went, and it was actually really amazing. We have an amazing video, we did amazing things, you know, we saw gorgeous nature, we had amazing experiences with locals. It was just, it's really a trip definitely that we will remember, because it's so unique and unheard of.
But I also think just forget stereotypes, go get lost.
So I remember that question was asked actually before we left Dubai in our live video. I think Brett was asking if we're going to fight about things. We are actually not too much of a fighting couple. I think we communicate pretty well in what we do and how we feel. So I think we don't really fight, but of course sometimes we bicker because it's only human. But I would imagine the things that we have mini fights about would be sometimes, you know, because I'm impatient about things and Jeff would tell me to relax. So that's kind of representing the dynamic in our relationship. I'm like trying to figure out things, and he's more like, it will be fine.
Let's see what happens.
Exactly.
Play it by ear.
Yeah, but you know, you need a little bit of balance. So sometimes you have a bit of friction, but nothing major. I don't think we had a massive fight. I think the biggest fight that we had during our 6-month trip is when we started wrapping Christmas presents, which is a classic.
She's so terrible. It's unbelievable.
I can't be good at everything.
It's terrible. No. Yeah, I think traveling is just about really finding that person that you can travel perfectly with. I am excited to wake up every morning super early. Sometimes Anne is like, it's pitch black outside and it's 5 a.m. Why are we awake right now? But sometimes when I get to new places, I'm super excited. But the goal is to really find that person you can travel perfectly with. And I got super lucky.
Me too.
Aww. Good question. I wouldn't be scared of Albania. I was really, really surprised. And if you've watched our Albania video, you know that I didn't know where we were until we landed in Tirana. So I was really surprised. Anne had arranged a rental car right at the airport that was really easy. Good brand new car, clean, well-maintained roads. Everybody spoke English. I should clarify, main roads. If you're going up into the mountains, it might get a bit dicey. But I think for kids, it seemed super friendly, it seemed super safe. Everybody was really helpful, and we never felt sketched out or intimidated or anything at all. It was great. Highly recommend Albania for families, couples, wives, husbands, anybody. It
depends also how old your kids are. I feel like if you have babies or, you know, toddlers, it'll be a bit tricky, especially the part that we did the hikes. Now if you go to the beach, obviously it's easier, but we did bumped into a German family that were absolutely lovely with a young 8-year-old girl, and she was, you know, traveling with, you know, in the 4x4 and bumpy roads, no problem. So it depends on if your kids can handle that, of course, and how old they are. But in general,
it would be an
safe.
awesome family adventure. I really think it would be cool.
That, yeah. we have been all filmed in a place that actually really sucked and then stopped filming at all. Like, I think in general it's just a matter of like how you approach, you know, the country and the travel, right? So it might not be always perfect, you know, we have some moments when we struggle, and you can see it in our videos, like in Everest, you know, I was sick, we still filmed.
But things suck everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Like travel sucks, like being jet lagged, being tired, being exhausted, being out of your element, being not feeling well. This sucks and can happen anywhere you go. So I really think the goal with our channel is to highlight what doesn't suck. It's right there in the title. It doesn't mean that, you know, things are always perfectly rosy and everything, but I am generally a very upbeat, energetic person all the time. I'm an American, what can I say? I'm positive.
Yeah, there's one thing we edit out sometimes, not every time. It's my face in the morning when he wakes me up at 4 for a hike. I do enjoy the hike, and it's always amazing afterwards. I'm happy I did it, but when he wakes me up, I want to kill him. So just to take an example, like Albania, the last trip, how it happened is that I figured out, okay, we have a weekend, let's just plan something. Usually it starts like that. We're like, okay, we have a weekend, we don't have anything planned, let's just look where we can go. So usually we don't really have, unless we have a place in mind that we absolutely want to go to, we would go to like Google Flights or Skyscanner and just put everywhere. And then we have a list of countries. We're like, okay, we've done this, we've done that. Oh, we have no idea about this country, let's do that one. Trying to stay, you know, within a price range. We don't travel expensive, we try to stay quite, how do you say, quite frugal in our traveling. So we do that, and then I would, you know, just research a few things to do. Like for Albania, for example, you know, looked up if there is any things to see or to do, and I found not only the beaches in the south, but also the mountains in the north. And as soon as I saw mountains in the hike, I was like, that might be interesting. So I looked a little bit more into that, started to do planning, and I, you know, just usually do a basic Google sheet or Excel sheet and just put, you know, morning, afternoon, and like what we plan, and then kind of estimating the money, where we're gonna sleep. If we know that in advance, then I can book it, and then I put the cell in green, and you know, it looks really nice.
I think a lot of times what we try to do is, you know, we Google very minimally, like she said, before we arrive. But once we arrive, we really look to spend one day out in nature. We try to look up what the best local restaurants are. We try to look up what the must-do things in the cities are that we're in. And we try to find any museums or things like that that we absolutely have to do. And then we usually spend an afternoon exploring, getting lost, and just seeing what we find. And this usually puts together a pretty good mix of a nice weekend.
Again, we travel generally a short amount of time, you know, up to 3-4 days, maybe 2 sometimes. So it doesn't require a lot of organization. It's just a matter of figuring out if there's anything we can't miss. And other than that, just, you know, go with the flow.
I think we have it down to a science now.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Life in the Netherlands is awesome.
I absolutely love it. It's great. We have seasons again. I'm still not sick of the rain. I can wear a sweater and not be sweating to death. It's a really, really nice change after all those hot and humid summers in Dubai. I have no complaints.
Yeah, same. Honestly, it's the polar opposite of Dubai in a lot of ways. The weather being the most obvious, but for us, it's ideal. Like, I went for a run this morning. It was lightly raining. It was cold, and I love it. I just love it.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, it's really good.
And one more thing that's so great about living in the Netherlands, we have a whole new area to explore. We have 1-2-hour flights to countries that we have never been to, and it's so exciting to be able to go to Paris, you know, 3 hours on the train for the weekend, or fly to Albania for 2 hours, or, you know, take a bus or whatever. We just have so many more places to go explore. We ticked off a lot of the countries around the UAE.
Yeah, we have so many more, and there's a nice little bucket list that is preparing for Europe.
We decided that we wanted to leave Dubai about a year before we did. We set a really, really extreme savings goal, and we tried to save as much as we possibly could every single month until we hit that target. We didn't know exactly when we would, but when we got an idea of when we would pass that mark, we quit our job, sold all our stuff, and left. And Anne had done so much planning about our trip. We knew exactly how long we wanted to travel for. We mapped out the rough expenses for the entire thing, added some extra on top of that, and that left us a pretty good place where we could leave comfortably and feel like we hadn't made a huge mistake.
Yeah, it was really, really important for us to leave Dubai with, savings, because to be honest, a lot of people, live with debt, and we didn't want to be, we didn't want to do that. So it was really important for us to make the most of our life in Dubai and really, get us in a good place for later. It was a year where we saved a lot of money, mostly for our trip, to be honest. We didn't plan on working whilst on the road. It wasn't, we didn't plan on any income from What Doesn't Suck. We wanted to fully enjoy that because it's something you do once in your life. It was 6 months of traveling, careless, we had no responsibility, nothing. So it was really, really awesome, and we truly enjoyed it. And yeah, what do we do for a living now? So we live in Amsterdam right now, and I work in marketing for a big company. I don't know if I can say more.
And I'm still busy editing all of these travel videos and everything that we shot over the last 6 months.
Alright guys, that's it for the questions you asked on Instagram. Thank you so much for asking them.
I hope that some of this information is valuable and helpful, and please always don't hesitate to send us any questions. We answer every single question personally that anybody asks. Because I really like that we have all this weird and seemingly useless and hopefully helpful information to share. So go forth and travel.